Hey everybody, and welcome back to BK's Bullets. Today we're going to be doing a review of Captain America, The Death of Captain America, Complete Collection. Hey everybody, and welcome back to BK's Bullets. As always, I am your host, Brent, and today we're going to be doing a review, finally. I've been talking about reading it for the last couple of episodes. The Death of Captain America, the Complete Collection. This is the big, thick monster by Ed Brubaker and Lee Weeks, Mike Perkins, Steve Epting, Butch Guice, Roberto De La Torre, all sorts of different great artists in here. Colors by Frank De Armada, all that stuff. But before we get into it, let me ask you to do, please, one thing. Subscribe. Helps me out, lets you know when I post new videos. Hit that notification bell if you want an instant notification. Thanks for watching. Leave a like on the video, and let's get on from here. So, Captain America, The Death of Captain America. Obviously, there's a little bit of a spoiler in the title, right? You can't avoid it. It's on the video. So if you have not read this story, you don't want to know what happens, don't watch anymore. Obviously, that should be said, it should go without saying. So this is basically volume 3 in these complete collections of Ed Brubaker's Cap run. To my knowledge, there's only 3 out right now. There's no volumes or anything on the side, but we've done a review on Winter Soldier complete collection. There's a Red Menace complete collection that's out. We've done a review on the channel here for, and this is the last one, The Death of Captain America. So these are all inside the Captain America Omnibus. There's like the first one, Winter Soldier Omnibus, maybe. There's a Death of Captain America Omnibus, which has most of this stuff in here, and maybe a little bit further, and there's more after that. So, what is in here? This is a thick book. So this says Captain America 22 through 42 down here, and the Winter Kills special. So it's like a spotlight with Winter Soldier. So, I was reading it, and it starts out with the Civil War tie-in issues, right? You've got these famous Civil War covers, which are a great design to let you know exactly what it is. If you have half a cover and a solid color on the bottom on a Marvel comic, you know it's a Civil War tie-in. Great design when they did that years ago. So you got the Civil War tie-ins and really setting up not setting up the conflict, but exploring the conflict of Steve and all the different characters where they fall on the issue of superhero registration. If you want to know more about that, go read the Civil War trade. I've also got a review of that on the channel. I reread that, call it a week ago, and did a review on it. But I did reread it because I knew this started out with the Civil War tie-ins, so I reread those, jumped into here, read those. Then after issue number 26, I jumped out of here and read the Fallen Sun issues for that event tie-in. That's written by Jeff Loeb. It's not by Brubaker, but it deals with how Cap's death affects the rest of the Marvel Universe. Whereas Cap's death here affects the characters in his book. Bucky, Sharon, Sam Wilson, Nick Fury, right? And the Red Skull, Alexander Lukin, all the guys we've been following since issue 1 of this series that I think started in 2005, something like that, 2004. So this is like the main part that Ed Brubaker was writing towards. Like this is the story I think he really wanted to tell. Not just to bring Bucky back, he kind of did that. But I gotta say, out of the issues that we've read so far, Winter Soldier, we didn't learn a little bit about Bucky and what he was doing before he remembered. But Winter Soldier ends with Cap saying to Bucky, remember. And then we don't see him at all. We see him a little bit in the Red Menace trade, in the Blitz over London, that storyline. And there's a little bit of conversation between him and Cap, but very, very short. So Bucky and Cap never had that, reconciliation, they never reunited in the book, and they don't reunite in this book either, and that's what makes it so tragic. So of course this is another Civil War tie-in. This is number 24. The next issue after this is the infamous Captain America 25, and this book hit just after the end of Civil War, basically. And Cap had given up in Civil War number 7. He basically quit the fight and said, I don't want to do this anymore. There's too much destruction going on in the last fight in issue number 7, and I'm done. I see what we're doing. We're driving people apart. This is not helping. That kind of stuff. So maybe a month later, something like that, after Civil War number 7 hits, we get Captain America 25. Now, this is where I started picking up Captain America on a monthly basis. I remember walking into the comic shop in college, seeing this on the stands, and I think at the time the news had already hit, like even before the comic shops were open, that Marvel had leaked the story to one of the tabloids in the New York City. There's a story about it in the back here, with the headline and all that. So we knew that Captain America died before we walked into the comic shop. It was kind of a bummer. But I picked it up saying, oh, well, this is going to be a significant issue. I picked it up. I started reading it. I got drawn into the characters, and I didn't even really know who they were. I knew Bucky was back, and was this Winter Soldier character, but I didn't know much more other than that. So I started reading Captain America from number 25. Eventually I went back and had read the Winter Soldier stuff, but this is like the first issue that I bought out of this run, this Cap 25. So from here, from this issue on, is basically like the first 3 trades that were initially collected. So if you have old trades that say Death of Captain America, The Death of the Dream, The Burden of Dreams, whatever, there's 3 of those collections. I think they're also collected that way on Comixology as well. Those are all in this big, thick section of the book. So this is 22 through 24. So 3 issues, plus the Winter Kill special is right before this one. And that's Bucky basically going and visiting the gravesite of Jack Monroe. The Bucky he killed in issue number 7, I think, of the same series. It's in the Winter Soldier trade, if you have read that. But from here is where the story really takes off. You get a little bit of Cap in the beginning. Obviously, Steve's dead, and you got to find out who killed him and why. And even the issue of who killed him is kind of, by the end of the 25th issue, you know who killed him. You know exactly what happened. We had the setup of Sharon meeting Dr. Faustus in the previous volume, and we know that Dr. Faustus is messing with S.H.I.E.L.D. agents' heads and stuff like that. You find a little bit more about it in the Winter Soldier tie-ins, just kind of things happening in the background. But it really comes to bear, and their plan is, oh man, they programmed Sharon to kill Steve Rogers. And you find that out at the end of number 25. So you see his death not once, but twice in the same issue. And this image just here of Steve laying on the gurney with his eye out here is just so tragic. Man, so good. So I read 25, I read 26, I read Fallen Sun. I got a review on that. I recommend you read it. I think they're pretty good issues. Jeff Loeb writing those. But if you want to see Falcon, Sharon, and Bucky, that's all in this trade. So then over the next, almost 20 issues, 18 issues or whatever it is, you get the story of them solving why Cap was murdered and how. Obviously, they find out how a little, like midway through the story, that Sharon was programmed. I think she comes out and tells them, if I recall correctly. But about halfway through here of the rest of the story, you have Iron Man actually telling Bucky that he needs to be the new Captain America. So, based on a letter that he gets from Steve in the event of Steve's death. So, number 34 starts out. Here's Bucky as Cap in his new uniform designed by Alex Ross. It kind of takes the old original shield he has that wasn't the circle but the triangle and kind of lays it over almost on Bucky here. He's not showing off his arm or anything like that, but he is carrying the shield and a gun, and they do talk about why he carries a gun here as well. In the Marvel Comics, Bucky does not have the super soldier serum. He's just a regular guy with a metal arm, of course, but that's why he carries a gun, is he's not a super soldier necessarily. But he does learn how to use the shield and use it pretty adeptly. He's tossing around a bunch of aim heads and stuff like that here. So that's pretty cool. So you got the ongoing plot after that of Alexander Lukin and Red Skull and what their plan is and them trying to stop their plan. Eventually we bring back another Captain America. Again, there's a whole lot of Caps here in Cap's history that are all retcons. So this is the 50s Cap that Red Skull has programmed to do his bidding. and you got Bucky and him doing battle in the final issues of this volume, and that captain like really realizing what he's doing and then backing off, and then you got them sabotaging the Red Skull's plan, and the issue, the trade ends from there. So it's kind of a weird story. You have the death of Cap in here, you have like the fallout from it, but by the time you get halfway through, you're no longer focusing on the mystery of why Cap was killed. You never really find out what the Red Skull's master plan is. There's Arnhem Zola, this robot guy, is messing with machines and stuff like that. Here's Zola. You might remember him from Winter Soldier. That was the Nazi scientist, and his face popped up on this like 1950s computer, and he was talking from the MCU. Well, in the comics, he's like a giant robot guy, kind of like Krang from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, except he's a robot, like a computer head instead of an alien in the tummy. But they're doing some weird things with machines from Doctor Doom, and they never tell you exactly what they're trying to do. So I think it's going to go on and on and on and on. I have read the rest of Brubaker's Cap run when it initially came out, but I don't remember everything that happened in it right now. And I don't want to spoil it for you or for me from reading it again either, so I'm not trying that hard to recall. So as a story, as a whole story, how does this book read, right? It's very engaging. One thing Brubaker does well is move you from issue to issue and make you feel like you're not reading a whole issue. Or not make you feel like you want to stop or need to stop. He pulls you in, he drags you on. This thing is moving so fast in terms of the spy thrillerness that you're engaged. The one thing that's bad about this, at least this book, is that there's too much, I would say. Too much story, too much here. I think maybe it would have benefited if there was a split. If the death of Captain America was this story and the mystery of how he died and who killed him and stuff like that was half, and then the other half was the beginning, if it ended with Bucky becoming Cap, and then you had the rest of that with Bucky stopping the Red Skull's plan after that. Because that's about half the book. There's like a big split right in the middle, right there in 34 that I showed you, and then the story kind of moves away from why was Cap killed and who was behind it, and into the we gotta stop Red Skull, I'm the new Captain America storyline. So I think that split kind of divides the book. I was a little more engaged in the Steve's death part, and a little less engaged when Bucky became Cap. And I don't know if that has anything to do with the art too. Once that happens, Butch Guice kind of takes over the book. You have Steve Epting still doing some issues here and there, and Mike Perkins helping out as well. But the tonal shift of it from just being Epting and Perkins into Epting, Perkins, and Guice maybe not threw me off, but took me out of it a little bit, even though their styles are totally similar and it flows very, very well from issue to issue. So I'm not saying it's bad. Not at all. All of these guys are phenomenal artists on their own right. It's just I think the story could have benefited from a split. It's not really a big mystery. Like, you're not reading this. Like, this is as thick as the Watchmen tome or the Long Halloween and some of the older printings, but it's not a giant mystery all in one tome. It's really a couple stories bundled together because they all relate to each other. And it doesn't benefit from that, So I do recommend it. I really do think this is the best of Brubaker's Cap run right here in this book. I think, it does benefit you to read Winter Soldier and Red Menace before this, but I think you can absolutely jump in with this and call it a day. If you've watched the movies, you know who Bucky is, you know the idea of it, you can jump in right here and you'll figure everything out. There's not that much you missed, honestly, and you can read this and have a great, great time. So, I do recommend it for Cap fans. Or if you just want to read more of Bucky being Captain America, this is it. Start here. I don't think you need to read anything else, They don't really reference that much else anyway. And if they did, you can go look it up, or you can go back and read it. But I don't think I'm not like, oh, well, you absolutely need to read Winter Soldier before you read this, or read Red Menace. You'll benefit from it, but is it absolutely necessary? No. I think you can jump in here for sure. So, in that way, it's a great tale. This is basically the quintessential Bucky Cap story right here, I think. Even though he only becomes Cap about halfway through, it is his kind of pseudo-origin story, if you would. And you get enough action with Bucky as Cap here, fighting, rioters, fighting AIM, fighting Hydra, fighting the Red Skull, fighting this Third Wing party that's almost like reminiscent of the Third Reich party. I think that's where the Third comes in. And they explain all the stuff with who this other Cap is, all this stuff. So, really, really interesting. Falcon's in here a lot as well. He's a full-fledged supporting character, unlike he was barely in Winter Soldier and Red Menace. So you get the full supporting cast here as well. So I think it's an excellent book. It does suffer a little bit from its length, I think. And there being multiple stories in this one tome instead of it being all one story. But I think it's a worthy read and well worth your time. I think this is the peak of Brubaker's Cap run right here. Because I never enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed reading this when it came out. And we'll go on from here. So, there you go. Captain America, The Death of Captain America, the complete collection gets a recommendation from me. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Leave a like down below. Let me know what you thought of Bucky's time as Cap. I really like this outfit. Let me know if you did too. We'll see you guys next time in the Funny Pages.